Welcome to another Coffee with Colin, and thanks very much for tuning in. If this is your first time joining me for Coffee with Colin, well, you're very welcome. The idea behind the series, is whereby I take snippets from my book, Feeding Johnny How to Build a Business Despite the Roadblocks, share a snippet on a weekly basis, and the lessons contained therein, in the hopes that by me putting them out there for you, I'll afford you a shortcut where back in the day I had none. We do so over a cup of coffee for 5 minutes or so on a weekly basis, and see where it leads. And if you enjoy what you hear and if you'd like more of it, well then go to our homepage, colinobrien.motivation.com, and leave us your details. We get you this type of stuff on a weekly basis. If you think somebody else might benefit, well, please share the link on with others. But in the meantime, sit back and hold tight and we'll talk about the particular concept for this week. Okay, this week I want to talk to you about an experience that I had many years ago when I was an employee, when I was managing Bewley's in Grafton Street. I was the general manager there between 1991 and 1995. I refer to it in my book as a man on a ladder. I want to tell you what went on in my head as I came across the man on the ladder. Now, I was managing Bewley's in Grafton Street. I was the general manager there between 1991 and 1995, and every day I would take the train from my home in Celbridge, which is in Kildare, take the train into Euston Station, hop on a bus, down the quays to O'Connell Bridge, hop off and walk up to my job at Bewley's in Grafton Street. And I used to use my commute time to study. Many people do. It's a great way to use what's otherwise wasted time. And I used to listen to my Walkman. Who remembers the Walkman? You're showing your age if you do. And if you're young enough not to know what the Walkman is, well then simply Google it and you'll find out. So I used to listen to my Walkman, and I'd listen to cassette tapes, and I was studying business concepts. And last week in my vlog I spoke about the cash flow quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki, where he talks about the 4 players in the world of business: employee, which is what I was at the time, self-employed, business owners and investors. So I was studying this type of stuff, and on one particular morning, beautiful morning in Dublin City, I remember it, I was listening to some business concepts on my Walkman through my headphones, and got off the train at Euston Station, hopped on the bus, and the bus trundled off down towards O'Connell Bridge, and at some point in the journey the bus pulled up at traffic lights. And it was then that I noticed, on my left hand side, I noticed that there was an older man washing windows up on a first floor window, and he was standing on a ladder which was being held at the ground level by some young fella. The young fella was no more interested now, to be honest, right? But the young fella was holding the ladder steady, and the older man was washing windows. And I made a judgment. I assumed it was a father and son outfit. I assumed self-employed window cleaners. And I asked myself, what was wrong with the picture? Fundamentally nothing. Here was a father and son, I assumed, window cleaners, self-employed, out there earning a crust, happy days. But I thought to myself, what might their business look like if they were studying the same type of stuff that I was studying? What might their business look like if they looked at their business through the eyes of being window cleaning business owners as opposed to being window cleaners? What might it look like? And the answer I came up with was very interesting. First of all, I assumed that the older guy could train the young fella how to wash windows and get some other young fella to hold that ladder steady. And then he could simply go and repeat the process. Get a second ladder, get somebody and show them how to wash windows, and somebody show them how to hold that ladder steady. Now he's got 2 ladders doing the same work at the same time. That's leverage. He could go on and then get a 3rd ladder and another team. One fella at the top washing windows, somebody else at the bottom holding the ladder steady. More leverage again. And he could go on and get 4 ladders and have one person at the top and one person at the bottom. And all of a sudden he's got 4 ladders out there doing the process. That, my friend, is leverage. And that is the fundamental difference between a self-employed individual who cleans windows for a living, and a business owner who turns the same concept, window cleaning in this case, into a business. Now let's assume for a moment that he charged €100 for washing the windows in some bank. Why not? Let's play with that concept. And so long as he washed the windows, he got paid his €100. What if he went off and got 4 ladders and 4 teams and paid each of the teams €75 for doing the job? What would happen? He's got 4 ladders now, 4 teams out there washing windows. He's charging €100. He's paying the teams €75. And what's he got left? 4 times €25, €100. Very interesting. He's got the same money that he would have earned had he washed the windows all himself in one contract, but this time he's got leverage. He's got the same money coming in and he hasn't been up a ladder. Isn't that very interesting? Now that, my friend, is the fundamental difference between a self-employed individual and a business owner. And every business that you see, take a coffee shop by way of example, take a corner coffee shop near where you live, a one-off, where Johnny or Peter or Mary is the owner, and they open up every morning and they make the coffee and they make the tea and they serve you at the table and they take your money and they wash up after you. That's exactly the same concept as a Starbucks or an Insomnia, where somebody's gone to the trouble of building a business system around exactly the same concept, coffee and tea and buns and cakes, and they've turned it into a franchise. And so that's what I wanted to share with you today. I wanted to share with you that experience, the man on the ladder, where I watched what I believe to be a father and son set of window cleaners, and I asked myself, what's the difference between people washing windows for a living and people building a business that washes windows for a living? And the difference is stark. The difference between the individual who's self-employed, who trades time for money, and the individual who goes on to learn the concepts and the skills required to build a business where leverage is employed is phenomenal. And leverage, in my opinion, is where it's at. And I hope you got something from this particular Coffee with Colin, and thanks very much for tuning in. Thanks for joining me. If it's your first time joining us for Coffee with Colin, well, pop to the homepage, ColinO'BrienMotivation.com, leave us your details and we'll send you this type of stuff on a weekly basis. I'd ask that you would consider what's been shared here today and apply it into your thinking for the next week or so. And if you think somebody else would benefit, well then please feel free to share the link on privately or publicly. And then most importantly, please come back next week and join me for another Coffee with Colin. We'll take another snippet from the book, Feeding Johnny, see where it leads. We'll share the lessons. In the meantime, have a great week. Fantastic. Talk to you soon. Take care. Bye for now.